Now picture the perfect Saturday morning. You're on a deck overlooking a quiet lake in East Tennessee, or maybe you're watching a sunrise over the Gulf in Florida. You know, coffee in hand, air is fresh, world's completely still. This is a dream, the reward you promised yourself after 40 years of the grind. Then the coffee gets cold. You notice a soft spot on the deck. Then you think about the property tax bill you don't have opened yet. You wonder if the HOA is planning another special assessment. And just like that, the peaceful getaway starts to feel like a second job. I want to tell you about Tom and Linda because they lived that dream. They bought the Florida condo, they paid cash, and they were proud of it. And 2 years later, they were sitting in my office doing the math that made them sick to their stomach. Stay with me. I'm Darren Shambly, certified financial planner, and this is retirement on cruise control. Tom and Linda were 70 years old with a rock solid retirement plan. They'd done everything right, saved well, invested wisely, and when they retired, they decided it was finally time to buy the place they had always talked about, a $500,000 condo on the Florida Gulf Coast. Now, they paid cash, no mortgage in retirement, and that was the rule. They figured the only real cost was the interest they were giving up by not keeping that money invested. Maybe $35,000 a year in lost growth, and they could live with that. What they didn't fully model were the phantom cost. $500 a month in HOA fees, $6,000 a year in property taxes, $4,000 for storm watch services and basic cleaning between visits, nearly $20,000 a year on top of the lost investment growth. And here's the number that stopped them cold. They visited for 6 weeks, 42 nights a year. So we divided the carrying cost by the nights they actually slept there. Almost $500 a night to sleep in their own bed. When you add in the opportunity cost of that $500,000 sitting in a condo instead of growing in the market, the nightly cost of that second home was, well, I'll tell you at the end of the video. It's insane. The dream home had become a drain. Like Tom and Linda, here's what most people get wrong about second homes in retirement. They budget for the obvious cost, the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance. What they don't budget for are the phantom cost. Now, in retirement, the cost of maintaining a home you're not living in full time almost always doubles. Small problems unattended starts out as little lizards, but must always turn into fire-breathing financial dragons. The rule of thumb for 2026: set aside 1 to 4% of the home's total market value every single year just for maintenance and repairs. On a $700,000 lake house, that's at least $14,000 a year before you've paid a single tax bill, before insurance, before property management fees, which can run 20 to 30% of any rental income. The carry cost adds up faster than almost anyone anticipates. Now, let's talk about the tax picture because there's actually some good news here and one very important catch. Under the new tax laws for 2026, the SALT cap, the limit on state and local tax deductions, has quadrupled. That's a significant win for people owning property. But here's the catch. That limit is the total for all your properties combined. If your property taxes on your primary home are $12,000 and your state income taxes are another $20,000, you only have $8,000 of deduction space left for the second home. And if your household income is over $505,000, that cap starts to phase back down. For high net worth families, you can find yourself right back near that old $10,000 limit. On the mortgage side, the deduction for interest is now permanent, but it's capped at $750,000 of total debt across both homes. If you carry a large mortgage on your primary residence and you finance the second home on top of it, part of that interest simply won't be deductible. Owning a second home can come with tax benefits in 2026, but they're not automatic. You have to look at the numbers for your specific situation before assuming the deductions will apply. Now, here's the best part of this video I don't want you to miss. It's called the Master's Rule. Some people call it the 14-day rule. And under the IRS code, if you rent out your second home for 14 days or fewer in a calendar year, that rental income is 100% tax free. You don't even report it on your return. If your property's near a major golf tournament, music festival, college graduation weekend, a holiday spot, well, you could potentially earn $10,000 or $15,000 in 2 weeks and keep every single penny. It's one of the last pure tax breaks available to homeowners. But the line is sharp. 14 days tax free, 15 days the IRS wants a cut of everything, and your expense deductions get complicated fast. If you own a property in a high demand area, rent out the 2 biggest weeks of the season tax free. So, what happened to Tom and Linda? Well, we figured out that their nightly cost on staying at their condo was a little over $1,300 a night. They sold the condo, and instead of feeling like they'd given up on the dream, they felt free. They took that $500,000 and put it back to work in their growth bucket. At 7%, that's $35,000 a year growing for their grandkids. And that first year after selling, well, they spent 6 weeks traveling, stayed in beautiful hotels, ate at great restaurants. They saw new places they'd never been at a fraction of their nightly cost at the condo. Tom looked at me and said, "Why did we wait so long to do this math?" That's the question I want you to be able to answer before you sign, not after. There are 3 things I want you to do before you buy a second home in retirement. Run the total SALT check. Look at your actual 2026 tax return, add up your primary property taxes, your state income taxes, see how much deduction space you actually have left before you assume the second home is a tax win. Calculate your cost per night. Be completely honest about how many nights you'll actually sleep there each year. Divide the full carrying cost by that number. If the answer makes you uncomfortable, it should. Consider the master's rule. If you buy in a high demand area, you rent out your place for 14 days and let someone else pay your taxes and insurance for the year. That changes the math significantly. A second home can be a wonderful place for family memories. I'm not here to talk you out of the dream. I'm here to make sure the dream doesn't quietly grow into a fire-breathing dragon that burns through your retirement. You want to own the home. You don't want the home to own you. Now, if you're thinking about buying a second property or you already own one and you're starting to feel the squeeze, let's run the numbers together. Click the link below to schedule your real estate stress test. We'll show you exactly how a second home fits into your long-term cash flow and legacy plan before it costs you $55,000 to find out on your own. And if this video helped you, this one right here will too. I'm Darren Shambly, and let's put your retirement on cruise control.